Okay, I flipped the camera over, and you see the 4010 behind me. Not a 4020, a 4010. Okay, so this 4010, and I've explained this before, this is an SA200 welder. This is just its hood. That thing is locked up. But anyways, that's another project that I've been working on silently because I've been working on it silently. But anyways, this tractor is the first John Deere tractor to come to the Pandy Farm back in 1963. My dad and my grandfather bought it. My grandfather bought it, my dad picked it out. It was like a $400 difference between the 4010 in 1963 and the 4020, which was new. Basically the same tractor, only this one was a few horsepower less, and it was cheaper. So my dad told my grandfather, well, you know what, for a couple extra horsepower, who cares, we'll buy the cheaper tractor, and that's what they did. So this tractor was on the farm, has been on the farm ever since. It never left the farm, it's never been sold from the farm, it's always worked on this farm, and it has sat for about 12 years. Now it's just my recap on it until last winter when I decided that it was time to redo this tractor to some capacity or another. I'm not saying a complete redo, but I'm saying it's going to be redone enough that we can use it. So I had Cody and Tim basically tear the front end off, and then well, of course, Cody and Tim tore the front end off, and then I pulled the block out. You saw videos of me cooking that block, which turned out okay. It wasn't I didn't get it hot enough long enough, and I didn't use enough caustic soda in there. I know there was a lot of guys who were like, why don't you just take it to a machine shop and do it? Well, unfortunately for everybody around there, I don't have a machine shop that's capable of doing this stuff local. It's probably something I'd have to go out into Pennsylvania to do. And so anyways, I pulled the block apart. The block, there was one little issue that I have with this block, and I'm just going to deem it a non-issue. One of the liners in, well, it was this number one liner here, number one cylinder. I can, move this out of here. I got so many projects going on here. This one liner, and it is all cleaned out. I mean, I'm probably pretty much ready to go back together. I'm not going to deck the head or anything, or deck the block. I don't have to. I'm just going to run over it with like a light sandpaper emery cloth and clean that up, and then paint it with copper gasket maker before I put the new head gasket on. But this one cylinder had a little bit of shininess on the liner. Out of 6, I had one that was shiny, okay? And I thought, well, crap, what am I gonna do here? I'm gonna have to, let's see, number 1 is down there. Yep, number 1 is down here. Ooh. I'm thinking to myself, shoot, this is going to be a machine shop deal. I'm going to have to send the block out, and I'm going to have that thing done, because if I don't, the engine's going to be junk, you know. And as you can see, and it's still shiny on here, and I'm not going to be shy about telling you this, but just a slight little bit of shininess right here. It's not worn in. It hasn't really done any damage to the liner. It's just, you can see that little bit of shininess. So I talked to several people about that, and they're like, one guy's like, yep, you got to have that engine, that block, you know, that block's got to be gone over. They're going to have to bore that. They're going to have to put a sleeve in there before you can, you know, to redo it and everything. I was like, oh man, talking a lot of money, you know. Then I talked to about 5 other people, and they're like, how much farming are you going to do with this tractor? I'm like, probably not much at all. Might pull a hay rake here and there. Might just sit in the back of the shop and then, you know, come out when for a parade, if we ever had a parade out here. You know, it's pretty much just a nostalgic tractor. It's not going to see much use at all. He's like, well, listen. He said, you can take and put that sleeve in there. He says, rebuild the whole engine. Put it all back together there. He says, you're never going to use it enough to cause any damage to your engine. He said, and besides, you know, and he says, mic it. See how out of round it is. So I have this funky little tool, and it's like old as dirt, and you stick it down in there, and then you measure, and then you take anyway, I measured the thing. We're talking such an infinitesimal tens of thousandths of an inch off inside there. I didn't even, you know, to be quite honest with you, I couldn't tell that there was a difference. It could be just that one vibrated a little bit more. I have no idea. So he says, just rebuild it, put it back together again, and enjoy the tractor as a family heirloom kind of a thing. He says, use it when you want to, but you're not going to be going out and plowing for weeks, months, 2-3 weeks in the summer, constantly pulling a 4-bottom plow or 5-bottom plow with that thing. You're just going to take it out and pull a hay wagon, or maybe go bale some hay with it, or do something like that. He said, that engine will last forever that way. And I thought, you know what, you're absolutely right. You're 100% right. That engine has got, that block, that rebuild probably has, it probably has 10, 15,000 hours on it. And in 10 or 15,000 hours, how much did it actually wear? I'm going to look for a date on this thing. This one doesn't have a date. Yeah, they used to date the bearings, but they don't anymore. So I don't have a date on those bearings. So I know this engine was overhauled before I can remember. I never remember that engine being overhauled. My dad said that it was actually early in its career when they had it. Like the 4320 is a 1972. That's the year I was born. And that's a 1963. So that tractor was 9 years old before the 4020. He said it was done before they bought the 4320. So my theory is, and he's a little fuzzy on it, but I think it was overhauled somewhere in the early 70s, and we just used the tractor, As you can see, there's a lot of rust and stuff on it, so it's not really had a great life here, but it is here. And with the 4320 was main tractor for many years until we had the 4430. Then, we had the 4010, the 4320, and the 4430. We beat the piss out of them until I bought the 5020. That was my first tractor. I bought that tractor. I paid for it with my own money. And I've thought several times about selling it, but I change my mind every time because, how many people still have their first tractor, and how many people that have sold their first tractor actually bought one to replace their first tractor, or spent a very long time trying to find their first tractor so that they could buy it back. But anyway, with that being said, I'm going to call John Deere. I'm not going to buy a Reliant kit. I might buy a Napa kit because it's all made by the same company. I think Alliance kits are the same company that's producing them for John Deere at this point too. So I think that's what I'm going to end up doing, and that'll be that. I'm just going to overhaul it. I do need cam bearings. The cam bearings were shot, so I don't know. Last year I purchased the cam bearing putter-inner doodadder. But you can see that this cam bearing they just need to be replaced. I think there's 4 or 5 of them in there. I can't remember. I'd have to look. I'd have to flip the block over. But I'm going to replace the cam bearings. The cam is fine. I spec'd the cam. That's fine. I didn't have any problems with that. Just a micrometer on it. And it is, actually, there's no wear on it at all. That's, it's within tolerances, I should say. I say no wear, but there's wear, but it's within tolerance. It's not like it's bad. So I guess that in the I kind of want to start this engine project before the end of the year, because I really do want to get this tractor back together and, get this shit cleaned up. I mean, this whole corner of the shop is that tractor, and that's got to be fixed. So I'm going to do that. I think somebody's going to come in here pretty soon. So anyways, with that being said, I guess that's the end of this video. Stay tuned. I know a lot of people are anxious and wondering about the 4010, and it will be run again. And I'm not worried about that little shininess on that sleeve. It's not going to make any difference. I actually thought of using a Loctite product and putting it on that sleeve as I sat it down in there, and that would fill in. There's a retaining ring, a retaining Loctite in a gel form that you could put on the top of that, and then when I seat the sleeve, That'll fill in that spot and it'll be fine. What little bit is there, it'll be perfectly fine. So that's that. Yeah, thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. And yeah, you'll get some more of that.